Hello and welcome back again to my channel. And today we'll be looking at the minimum, or you can say absolute minimum, absolute maximum, local minima, local maxima of a function. In our last video we talked about the domain and range of a function, so I'll just recap from there and pick up from today's topic. So let's look at this. We used this as an example the last time, where the domain is the range, it is the interval of the x-axis of the given function. So on the x-axis, this goes from, if you can see my cursor, this goes from -3, with -3 being inclusive, to 3 with 3 not being inclusive. So, and our range goes from -4, which is the lowest point of our graph, to 5, which is the highest point of our graph. I'm not sure if I did mention, but besides writing these intervals of our domain and range with parentheses, you can also write them with inequality. So for the domain that goes from -3 to 3, with 3 not being included, you can say that -3 is less than or equals x, which is less than 3. This means the same thing. Let's look at it. This is simply saying that x is less than 3, which is true, and that -3 is less than or equals x, or x is greater than or equals -3, which is still true. And for our range, which goes from -4 to 5, this can be written as -4 less than or equals y. I'm using y because our range is on the y-axis. You can use any letter, it doesn't matter. So, and y less than or equals 5. That would be how you write it. But our topic today is maximum and minimum. So let me just yes. So we want to find, in this case, we'll be looking for the absolute maximum and the absolute minimum of this graph. So what would our maximum be? As the name suggests, maximum is the highest point of our graph. So what's the highest point? The maximum is at 5. So our maximum for this graph is 5, and it occurs where? Either at -2. No, it occurs either at this is -3, either at -3 or 3. So our maximum is 5. Our maximum of this graph is 5. Our maximum is the highest point of the y-axis of the graph, and maximum is 5, and it is at, let's say, -3. This is our maximum. So how about our minimum? Our minimum is the lowest point, so our minimum here is -4, and it is at 0. So this is our minimum. So let's look at this second graph. You'd notice that this second graph has arrows pointing at the both ends. This means that the graph still continues. We just have a picture of a section of it. So because the graph still continues, we don't know the maximum or the absolute maximum or the minimum for sure. It's unlike this graph, where we know for sure that this graph ends here. There are no arrows. But for this graph where there are arrows, it suggests that the graph continues way beyond this. So because we can't say for sure what the absolute maximum or minimum is, would use local maxima or local minima to describe this high and low points. So for this, we're going to call this point right here our local maxima, and we'll call this point right here our local minima. So for this, our local maximum values here, I hope you can see my cursor here. Our local maxima is local max is 3, and it's found at 2. This local maxima is at 3. And if you look at the graph, you have another local maximum point here. I mean, when it's 2 maximum, you say maxima. When maximum is 2, you say maxima. So this is the first one here is at 3. You see this. The second point here, local maxima, is at 0. And our local minimum or minima, as the case may be, because there are 2 of them. Minima, we have the first one is at -2, and that -2 is found at 0. This doesn't matter. This is minimum, and the second minimum is at -3, and -3 is at -4. So for our local maxima, I hope you understand this. There's something I need you to notice. For each local maxima, you have it at the tip of an increasing part of the graph. The graph is increasing at this point, at the tip, before it just starts to decrease. That's your maxima. So you have that same pattern here. This increases a bit to here before it starts to go down. So this is a local maximum. This is a local maximum. At that point where it's down, just before it starts to go up, that's a local minima. That's a local minimum. So this local maximum of 3 is at 2. This is at 2, and this local maximum of 0 is at -2. So that'll be all for now. I hope this explanation was really clear. If you have questions, let me know in the comment section, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe. I will see you on the next video.